Hello and welcome to another episode of Between the Covers. Between the Covers, I hear you say. What is all that about? Well, Between the Covers is a show that airs most Wednesdays, 7 p.m. GMT, 2 p.m. EST. First of all, my name is Daniela Blechner. I'm an author, book journey mentor, founder of a company called Conscious Dreams Publishing. We work with authors from all over the world to help them to get their powerful messages and stories out there in the form of professional books. Behind me, if you can see my bookshelf behind my banner, I'm not sure if you can, are just some of the 130 plus books that we've published over the last 5 to 6 years. I'm absolutely passionate about what I do, offering a platform for unseen, unheard authors so they can have their voices heard and stories shared so they can inspire and empower for generations to come. As you're coming into the broadcast, I can see lots of people on Instagram. Just give us a wave, say hello, let us know where you're watching from. If you're watching via YouTube Live, LinkedIn, on Facebook, please do say hello, tap the screen, show us some love. Thanks so much. Hey, Faye. Show us some love and please do share this out as well because you never know who's watching and who this might inspire. So this show is really a platform to hear from authors. So whether they're published by Conscious Dreams Publishing or through another means, some people have self-published, done it the DIY style. Others have been traditionally published. Hey, thanks for watching on IGTA. Nice to see you, Lewis. And it's also an opportunity to hear from industry experts as well. So whether that's editors, typesetters, illustrators, agents, hopefully, and those within the publishing industry, because it's so easy to look at a book and give it a good read and then put it down. But just this is about really getting between the covers and understanding the whole journey behind the production of the book. So without any further ado, I'm going to introduce our awesome and amazing guest, Sharnette Donacien. A little bit about Sharnette. She's a first-time published children's author. Her book is launching very, very soon. It's available for pre-order now. She was born in St Lucia. She spent her formative years in the UK and now lives in the Netherlands with her husband and 2 children. And I want to get this right. You can correct me when you come in. Adalia and Gabriel. Her children are her biggest inspiration. Her first book titled, do you want to see the cover? If you've been following us on social media, you'll see this cover everywhere. Her first book titled Ada's Wash Day is based on real life experiences and conversations with Adalia about self-acceptance, her hair and identity. Sharnette's mission is to inspire, empower and educate little big readers with little big stories so that they can see themselves represented, understand themselves better and develop a love of books. What more could you ask for? So please do welcome our lovely guest, Sharnette. I'm going to get her into Instagram as well at the same time. There you go. And please do let us know if the sound is okay as well.
Yeah.
Hello.
Okay, let me turn off the sound. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Yeah, perfect. How are you doing?
Very good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So you are a soon to be published author. How does it feel? You got your proof copy a couple of days ago. How does it feel to hold this now in your hands after all this time?
It feels a bit surreal actually, because this is something which we've been working on for quite a long time. So I don't know. I can see it, I feel it, but I feel a little, I don't know, like I don't want to get too excited and I don't know why, but I did get very excited at the DHL man. I was literally like, well, I was stalking him for a start because he kept going up and down my street and I was like, why is he not stopping here? Why are you not stopping here? And then finally he stopped. So yes, no, I'm super, super, super excited. I think I'm quite reserved, but I am immensely proud and just immensely happy, joyful that it's finally here.
Amazing. You've done such a great job. It's an absolutely beautiful book and can't wait for this to be released. And this is a fantastic book for Christmas. So tell us a little bit about you. I mean, have you always wanted to be a writer? What compelled you to start writing books?
I think I will start with, have I always wanted to be a writer? I don't know. And that sounds like a weird answer. But I think when I was younger, I was extremely creative. You know, I loved writing songs. I liked to be part of theatre, and I just liked make-believe, and I was always reading, always reading. Where I grew up in St Lucia, it's a small fishing village called Shvizar, and we had a really lovely library. So this is where I would be most of the time, reading loads of books. I used to love reading like Enid Blyton, you know, the Thomas Hardy books, all of those kind of things, to really bury myself in these stories. But as I got older, and I think once I moved to the UK, I don't know, you kind of take on a different kind of mindset. And, you know, I was very academic, so I was doing really well, you know, I'm good at maths, all this kind of stuff. So then automatically, I think people box you into that category. You're going to go to university, then you're going to go to find a job. I ended up in finance, and then, you know, your dream of being creative just sort of dies, I guess. Yeah, so over those years, I've always felt like something was missing. You know, and you just feel like I enjoy my work, I like my work, but I'm not in love with it, I'm not passionate about it. I think after I had my kids and I took some time off from work, I really got the opportunity to sit down and kind of think, okay, now what about me? What do I like to do? What do I want to be known for? What do I want to be good for? And I just started journaling and really trying to just write out my feelings. We moved to the Netherlands about almost 9 years ago when I was about 8.5 months pregnant. So that's another
wow.
Yeah, so we had no friends, no family. And it was just really, really tough. You know, I think moving to the Netherlands, 8.5 months pregnant, I was a bit naive. So I just thought, I'm just going to have a baby and we'll just have this baby. We'll move back to the UK in a year or two and then everything will be fine. I didn't quite go like that. I mean, most people would know, you know, having a child is like a life-changing event. And I honestly think I did not prepare myself for this life-changing event. So I really sort of struggled in terms of not having that family support. Because when I grew up, I remember being surrounded by family. You know, my mom, my aunts, my uncles, you know, neighbors. Everyone was sort of pitching in their own way. And here you are here, and it's just basically you, your husband, and 2 children. What started off as really just journaling, writing out my thoughts, my feelings, just kind of snowballed into a book at some point.
Wow, I'm still stuck on you moved to a completely new country. 8.5 months pregnant, completely new life, not knowing anyone at all. I mean, that in itself is like demonstrates huge bravery. So wow, hats off to you. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
In your bio, it says that your children are your biggest inspiration. Would you say that, you know, that being in a different environment and having that life-changing situation experience got you into your creative mold, to say, if that's the right word, creative flow?
Yeah. Yes and no. I think one of the reasons I really started writing, like I said, was an extended form of journaling, and just seeing my kids start school. That was really, I think, the trigger for me, because a lot of the challenges that they were coming across at school at the age of 4, 5, especially from 3 years old, I don't think I ever really had that. Growing up where I'm from, you know, I'm surrounded by people who look at me, you know, look like me. I'm surrounded by my family. So I never felt different, never felt, you know, strange, never really was made to feel uncomfortable. Whereas I suppose when I look at my daughter and my son, when they are, you know, my daughter was the only black girl in her school at one point, and then my son. So for her, she had lots of questions, you know, why don't I look like them? Why do they look like me? And they in turn had loads of questions for her, you know, about her hair. I mean, some of them were very, you know, inquisitive, but then some of them were also quite cruel. So really, this book was born out of just reminding her that although you're different, you're still unique and you are special, and in your difference is what gives you your power. And yes, you know, we all want to look a little bit different sometimes, but I think that's okay. But you really have to start from a place of self-acceptance. And, you know, your hair is really like one of the key things, I think, for a young black girl, where you really start to feel a sense of your identity and who you are and start expressing yourself, basically. Yeah.
100%, and I think that's really powerful. Now they've got a book, literally, because it's actually features your daughter, doesn't it? So a book featuring her speaking about hair and self-acceptance. I mean, that is just beautiful, I think. For those who don't know what Ada's wash day is about, can you please let us know? And have I pronounced her name correctly? It's Ada, isn't it?
Oh, well, we say Adalia.
Adalia.
Yeah, and we call her Ada for short.
Ada.
Yeah, so it's really Ada's Wash Day is just a sweet story about mother and daughter, and you're following along their story on their weekly ritual of hair washing. And we usually do that on a Sunday. It's quite a nice moment for the two of us where everything sort of slows down and we really begin to connect. And sometimes even it's quite nice when we do it together. So we'll either jump in the bath together or the shower together. And it's just such a lovely, sweet bonding moment. I don't know how long that will continue, but, you know, she's still young. So I think I can still do that. And she still loves it. So, you know, we still do that together. But really it's talking about grooming, like hair care, but also self-acceptance and deep questions. So there are some moments in the book where we sort of transition from the stages of her learning how to care for her hair, where, you know, then she starts to question and raise, you know, the conversation about, is she beautiful? You know, does she have nice hair? And when I think about it, my hair and then her hair, we have very different hair textures for a start. So my hair is quite curly, you know, it's quite bouncy and free, and, you know, I regularly straighten my hair. So when I think about when she says, oh, I want to look like my friends, then she's also saying, I want to look like you. You know, I've got the long, straight, flowy hair most of the time. So that was also a moment for me to kind of realize that, hey, I'm also her role model. She's looking to me for how she should feel about her hair. If I'm not accepting my hair the way it is, then how can I expect her to do it? Yeah. So it really was like kind of like a dual thing. So it's not just a moment for Ada to learn, it's also for Mama to learn, you know? So we capture that in the book.
I love that. That's beautiful. We've got some lovely comments here. We've got Justa says, I remember the days of my mum doing my hair. Oh gosh, don't we all? When you were describing your beautiful bonding moment, I was thinking of many of our experiences, you know, being between mum's legs, and because my hair's really thick and coarse, so it wouldn't be fun for me. I just wanted it to be over. It was like, oh. But I think if you can make that, like you're saying, into something that is routine and something that becomes a bonding experience and not just a necessity or something to get through, it then becomes a beautiful moment, which is also, I guess, a teachable experience for mothers, for those who care for young girls as well, and how they can make that into a bonding experience. And I think that gives it an extra dimension too. It's beautiful. Dee says, good evening, ladies. Hello, Dee. How are you doing? Hope you're well. Justina says, hey. If anyone has any questions as well for Sharnette, please do throw these up. This is an interactive discussion as well. So if you have any comments or questions, please do throw those up as well. So your daughter, she's now received the proof copy, had a read through yesterday, I think it was.
Yes.
And you have a son as well. What's their reaction to the book?
I think they love the story. They love the illustrations. They love the fact, well, my daughter loves the fact that it's about her. I think she's quite a reserved character. So my son, who's a bit younger, he tends to dominate the space quite easily. He's always, look at me, look at me. Whereas she's much more reserved. So for this to be about her, it's again self-affirming for her. That in her own way, she doesn't have to change herself. She can be beautiful, she can be interesting, and she can be someone that people want to know a bit more about. So yeah, she's really super proud. And I think the pride is not even so much about the book, and that just says a lot about her. I think she's so proud that I'm doing something that I've been talking about for almost 3 years. And really in the last year, really saying, I'm going to make this happen. So having her kind of seeing me writing it down on, you know, Word, and then coming to this, I think she just thinks, wow, it's possible, you know? So dreams can come true if you just basically just work every day towards it. So that's like the big thing that came from her. She told me she's extremely proud of me. And yeah, it's the best book ever, obviously.
Yay! I think that's great. There's so many dimensions to it. So like you said, having the self-affirming positive identity. So now she can go into school and almost like regardless of what anyone says, there's a book about her. And she knows her worth, and she knows that, you know, she cherishes this beautiful mother-daughter bonding. But on top of that, seeing you as mother, you know, working towards something and actually having it in your hands and seeing it come to life, I think is really special. Jay said, we've got a couple of comments here. Jay says, I caught that it's about her daughter, which is dope. Cool. Chasile in the house. I'm so proud of you, Sharnette. She says.
That's my mom.
Oh, hello, Mama. How are you doing? 3 generations. Yeah, your granddaughter's in the book.
My mum is actually a writer. She will hate me for saying this, but she has always loved writing. And in a way, actually, this is also an ode to my mum. When I think about the transitions and actually what's happened in my life, in a way, it mirrors hers quite a bit. You know, I had 2 children back to back. She left Shrizel to move to the UK when I was like 8, 9, moved to a completely new country. And I did the same. So when I look at some of these like big events, you know, I'm kind of mirroring my mum. So for me, this is like an ode to my mum. You know, I'm doing it as well because, again, I remember like wonderful days with my mum beyond like, wash day, but everything else, you know, cooking, you know, just chilling, like going to museums with my mum, going out for dinners with my mum. You know, it was always like special moments for me and still is. So, yeah.
That's beautiful. Oh, hello, Mama. And that almost sort of carries on the legacy of not just the mother-daughter bonding, you know, doing things together and carrying that through, but also, you know, you've got the legacy of the book now, which is here forever. So I think that's pretty beautiful.
Yeah, and when I think a little bit about wash day, actually, it feels like quite a thing that women do. You know, it's like a feminine ritual, because like when I'm growing up, it's not just my mum who does my hair, it's my aunt, it's the neighbours, it's whoever's there. So it's like you say, you're sat between someone's legs. It's quite an intimate, very close thing, and they're really like grooming you, shaping you, making you look, you know, a specific way. So I think it's for any kind of carer, anyone who loves looking after or sharing their love or sharing their creativity with other people. So for me, that is what the book is all about as well.
Beautiful. We've got a couple of questions. I'm going to go to those in a second. I wanted to touch on, there was a line in the book here where Ada, isn't it? It's Ada, isn't it? I don't want to get it wrong. Ada. I know. You know, I have Ada in my head because obviously we haven't spoken. So every time I'm reading this, I read it as Ada, and I was like, no, I know that's not right. So Ada. There's a line in it where Ada says that, you know, the children say I look like a boy, and I think that's another aspect of it. I mean, I posted something not too long ago about also, you know, I had really short hair. I always wanted to have my hair relaxed. My mum was like, no, by hook or by crook, that's not happening. The most I had was a jerry curl, so I ended up looking like Michael Jackson. So it's either like a really big afro that was like huge, or this really short jerry curl, and I always got mistaken for a boy. And I don't know if it I don't feel like it upset me. It's just a bit like, I'm not a boy. So can you touch on that a little bit as well? Because I think it gives it that unique perspective that being a girl doesn't have to be this one idea or this one vision of what a girl should look like.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you say, her hair is quite, it has quite a bit of shrinkage. So, you know, it is long when you brush it out, but actually when it's dry, it gets very, very small. And for her, you know, for a while, it was making her a little bit self-conscious. So people will actually just naturally call her a boy. They think I've got 2 boys. And on top of that, she's not very girly in a typical sense. So she's not like wearing pink or dresses. You know, she wears leggings and jeans. She likes to skateboard, climb trees, she plays hockey, swimming. So she's outdoorsy, likes cycling. You know, so she's not your typical girl. And a lot of times people do misgender her, and I think that also does make her feel uncomfortable because she feels then that she has to play a role in a way so people can see her. But then, you know, the more we talk and the more we think, you don't need to basically affirm anyone else's. You know who you are, you know what you are, that's all that matters. And part of getting her to accept her hair is also just, you know, what people say can hurt you sometimes, and sometimes it's not intentional, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt. So it's just, okay, how do we then move on from that hurt? If it's someone that you know and you're comfortable with, you just explain, I didn't feel comfortable with what you said, or actually I'm a girl, and then, you know, try and move on. So yeah, it's a teachable moment for her to kind of deal with that. But it's just also showing her that actually, you know, people look beautiful with short hair. My mum has had short hair for a long time. And actually, when I was 9 years old, my mum cut off all my hair. We moved to the middle of the UK where there was no black hairdressers. There was literally nowhere to find like hair products. So it was just off, because it was the only way really to kind of deal with your hair. I might get in a lot of trouble after this with my mum.
Mum's DMing you now. Stop.
I had a feeling of looking like a boy, because I was also not your average girl. I played football. I love being outside. I love doing, you know, active things. So yeah, I'm happy that my spirit is alive in her.
I love that. Sounds like we would have got on really well. I was definitely a climbing trees sporty person, not so much anymore. But and that's but that's something I love, about this book, is you've got the mother-daughter bonding, but also, just being completely and utterly comfortable in your own skin, knowing thyself. And when you know yourself, doesn't matter what anyone else outside says. And I think that's a beautiful lesson in there as well. Hi there, Marie. Hey, Mav. Nice to see you. We've got a question from Jay. So I'm just going down. Did you illustrate as well as write the book? So, yeah, talk to us about your illustrator.
Unfortunately not. I literally have zero illustrating or drawing talent. My illustrator is the wonderful Shireen Saeed. Check her out. I actually met her on Instagram, funny enough. I was looking for a new illustrator at that point, and I just spent, I think, a week just going through like the portfolios on Instagram, just looking to think, okay, what kind of style do I like and what kind of person. Then I narrowed it down to a few, and then I kind of spoke to them, and then just tried to figure out, whether they understood where I was going with the story, because it isn't, like it is a proper story, and that's what I'm really proud of. So it isn't just an instructional book, or it isn't just an affirmation book. It is a real story that has a beginning, middle, and end. But it's also a sweet story. So I really wanted someone who could capture that feeling, that warmth, that love, and that just normality within a Black family. When I look at a lot of books with Black protagonists, they tend to be either trauma related or really kind of the other way. And I just wanted to present a story, just a normal story about a normal family having this experience, which other people can relate to, whether they're Black or not. So Shireen really kind of understood, and she really, I don't know, she felt it. And actually what she said to me was, she read the manuscript and she said I had opened her eyes to a problem that she never knew existed. And that for me was also really profound, because it's also a book that other people can kind of read to learn a bit more about our culture and how we feel about our hair and how we relate to our hair and why our hair is so important to us. Because when you think about some of these issues and challenges you see, only recently, like for example, Black girls weren't allowed to go to school in cornrows. There's rules and regulations about the length of your extensions or how you can do your hair. That's something that's quite heavy and something that should be just so natural. So it was really nice to open her eyes to something like that, and she was really open about that. And I just hope that other people who look at it can also then read and think, oh, so this is what their culture, this is what they do. So like when I tell my friends now I'm washing my hair, they don't think I'm making it up. Like literally,
it's a whole day event. Exactly. And then you need the day afterwards to recover. Okay. We've got Vern says, proud of you, cuz. Hi there, Vern.
Hi.
Dee says, it was a beautiful moment for me because my hair was quite thin, but not so much for my sisters who had thicker hair. Thank you. So we had another comment somewhere, but I wanted to touch on a couple of things that you said. Obviously, you came to us already with the illustrator and you had your illustrations already. So I do want to talk about that process, but I want to touch on what, representation and hair for this moment. And you were talking about recently there have been lots of reports of even children going into school with dreadlocks being asked to being either excluded or told to remove them, or not remove them, but cut them off, which is absolutely, I don't even want to, I haven't even got words for that. But there is something called the Halo Code, I found out not last year, and employers use this now, and you can also adopt this in schools, where if your hair, if you have an afro, they have absolutely they have a policy where they can't say anything, that's your hair, and they can't make any sort of policies or rules about how your hair should look. And I think that's hugely important. It's a huge part of our culture and identity. And speaking of culture and identity, you took part in our event in October, Children's Lit Representation and Diversity Matters. And you mentioned at the beginning, you loved reading and Enid Blyton, Thomas Hardy, and I absolutely loved Enid Blyton stories and anything I could grab my hands on. But I found there's a real lack of, diverse characters. So, I mean, how was it for you? And do you feel things are changing? Are you hoping through your book and books like this, things can change for our young people growing up now?
Yeah, well, I think just the platforms and the way that everything is moving is democratizing publishing. So people are now basically able to self-publish. I mean, I shopped my book around, I think 3 years ago, to like some major publishers, and zero interest, literally zero interest. But that was maybe 3-4 years ago. And at that time, when you looked in the space, there were hardly any books with positive Black protagonists in there, and particularly girls as well. You were more than likely to see a book with a lion or a hippo rather than seeing a Black and even a brown child. So, so as self-publishing moved on, you can kind of see over the last year and a half, 2 years, people are taking action. And I'm so proud, and it warms my heart to see people taking that action, because actually they're creating the change that they want to see. If they won't give you a seat at the table, bring your own, build it yourself.
Exactly.
Okay, you may not have the marketing spend, you may not have the initial reach, but to me, there's a little bit more to life than just becoming famous or making a lot of money. It can happen along the way, but essentially, if you have a powerful story, you have a powerful mission, that overriding mission will carry you. And if people can find that it's a great book and a great story, they will support you. People want to read these stories. People want to have this sort of inclusivity and diversity within their homes, within schools and libraries. We just have to demand it, to be honest.
100%. I know, 100%. No, you're right. No, don't apologize for that. That's 100%. Seriously, don't get me on my soapbox about this. You know how I feel about it. As we were talking about support and community and self-publishing and doing things independently, if you're watching this and if you find this of worth and value, please do share this out. Let people know. Get yourself a copy of Ada's Wash Day. Get yourself a copy. And you mentioned animals are more likely to be featured in books. In fact, the statistic is animals in 2018, animals were 8 times more likely to be a main protagonist in children's books as opposed to, children, Black and brown children. Another statistic is it's changed now. It was in 2017, only 1% of main characters in children's fiction books contains or featured the term they use, BAME, Black, Asian, Minority, Ethnic. That's the term that's used across all these reports. I really don't like that term because I feel like it shoves, you might as well just say non-white, just shoving everyone in one category, and we're so eclectic and different. So let's say diverse characters, only 1%. Now, last year it was 5%, and now that's risen to 7%. And I think that, like you said, self-publishing, independent publishing, working with hybrid publishers, we have a platform now to create and do so much ourselves. And I think it's really important as a community and as readers and of people, watching and listening to these interviews to, play an active role in supporting books like this that are coming out so that we can, educate and inspire and empower young people growing up. Because there's so many young people now watching, authors like yourself. We had 2 young authors, one 7 years old, who has actually written a book called My Afro, which is coming out in December. So, and another aspiring author, 9 years old, one of my mentees who I do storytelling workshops with, watching you all. And for her, it was completely normal. She's like, oh yeah, I know 9 authors now. I'm going to be an author. Whereas, in our day, it seemed like something that was so almost unreachable because we didn't see ourselves reflected. And I think, books like yours are hugely important as well. What was the most challenging part of actually writing the book, and what was the most rewarding, would you say, of the actual writing process?
I think the most challenging part was creating a story out of an experience or out of a feeling, and trying to make it relatable to a wider proportion of people. I think that was the most challenging part. But I say that, and I wrote this book in a day. So what might be challenging, what I consider challenging, is different. But I say I planted all the seeds way before I wrote this book, to be honest. I actually wrote this book and some others like on a dare almost, by a friend, because he also self-published 3 years ago. And he was like, yeah, of course you can do it. Go ahead, do it. I'm going to give you a month, do it. And I did it. And I did it in a couple of days. I was like, I'm done. What now? But again, this was in my post, coming out of nappy space, finally sleeping, more than 4 hours straight at night. and really starting to think, okay, now it's my turn. I brought these children up. They're still alive. They're thriving. Now it's my time to thrive. Let me just unleash, come out under these shadows, and really try and focus back on myself. So the book was really a way for me to kind of say, hey, I'm still here. I am creative. I am good. I am, I've got ideas. Just to do something, So that was, a way for me to do that.
And I thought you've got many more books to come. But I want to, before we go into that, I want to go back to illustrations or the creative process. Obviously, you met Shireen.
Shireen joined as well.
Oh, hey, Shireen. Oh, yeah, sent it to you. Yeah, nice to see you. Shireen, please do say hello so people can see you in the comments. We've been bigging you up, speaking about your illustrations. You've come in just in time. Oh, we've got Sophia on. She's also written a book as well called Curly Kyla. We've got a couple of comments here. Mavreen says we need more of these types of books on the market. Yes, Mav. True. Jay says very true. This is awesome. What you're doing, very positive and inspirational. Your kids will truly appreciate what you've done for them with your book. Oh, we've got more. Oh gosh. Jay says we have to build each other as Black people 24/7. That's how we become stronger and greater. And it's also how we destroy ignorance and hate. Our hair is absolutely beautiful and always has been. And the Black youth is the future, and self-love is extremely important. I will get a copy. Yes, Jay. Brilliant. Tell people about it as well. Completely agree. We need these empowering books on the market, definitely. So speaking about the illustrative process, so you found Shireen. Did you I feel like you already had an idea of what the main character would look like, because obviously it's based on your daughter, but did you have an idea of style and characters and colors before how did you work together? What was that process like for those who haven't ever worked with an illustrator before?
It was actually really seamless, and I think largely because Shireen's very open, and also very patient because obviously this is my first book. So I think when we first started off, I didn't really have a clear sense of like how I saw the spreads, so I was just going spread by spread, or even image by image, and then obviously you have to kind of break down the manuscript into a way that you think, okay, how is this? Is this going to be 2 sentences, or is it going to be 4 sentences here for this spread? So it was really me kind of learning as I went along, and thankfully she was very patient and very helpful in helping me to think about it. So really, it was me kind of describing. So I would send her the manuscript, and I split it up how I thought it would be shown by spreads. But then for each spread, I would then really just talk about the thoughts and the feelings of the characters there. So how is Mama feeling here? How is Ada feeling here? What is the situation? What kind of vibe do I want to create here? And then literally she would just do her magic and then send back something. And I was like, oh my God, this is not even what I'd imagined, but it's better than. I have no expectations. So even for the character of Ada, I sent her a few images of Ada, and then she created this wonderful character. And what I loved was, we were able to kind of bounce back and go back and really kind of refine the character. Because for me, when we talk about natural hair and the natural hair movement, a lot of it focuses on, bouncy, curly, hair like this, or even, more bouncy. My daughter does not have that hair. So I really wanted to capture her 4C, kinky, curly, coily hair. Like, that is my character. That is who I want to show. That's who I want to really affirm. Like, this is beautiful, and it is just normal hair. So yes, I think she really got the texture of the hair really well. She didn't try to make it different. She really just did it how it should be, like not soften it, not make it look cute or whatever. Just, this is her hair, this is how it's going to be. And I think it's come out really, really well, because it looks really natural and it looks real and relatable. And when I sent it to a few friends, and they were like, oh my God, this was me in the mirror when I was younger with my hair, thinking, I'm not beautiful, I'm ugly, I need to have extensions, or I need to get a weave on, and stuff like that. So even grown-ups could identify themselves in this character, because they went back to when they were 8 years old, and thinking, or 6, 7 years old, and thinking, oh, I'm ugly, or I'm not beautiful. And I want kids to relate to that, kind of accept that feeling, and then just go take that with them for the rest of the book, and then get to the point where, you know, there is that affirmation when Ada realized that actually she is amazing, and she is a queen to some extent, but a queen of herself, not necessarily that means that she is better or more beautiful than anyone else. She's just beautiful just the way she is, and that's it.
And you've got an image here. I'm looking for the crown picture somewhere. It's somewhere in here.
I love that.
Your hair, oh, I like this. Your hair is your crown. It's what makes you you, unique and special. It's a tiny sneak peek.
Yeah.
Do you have...
I love this image. And it was Shireen's idea to put the crown. Actually, her first image of Ada, she put a crown on it. Because she really felt like this is such a powerful story, and the empowering kind of ideas behind it was wonderful. So I really loved that image of the crown for Ada. You know?
That's one of my favourites as well. So do you have a favourite illustration, and would you like to share? I'm going to just share a little bit. That's it. There you go. Sneak peek. That's it.
I have quite a few.
While you're looking, Shireen, so you're obviously on Instagram and you've said hello so people can connect with you there. Do you have a website that I can quick throw up on for the others on the other stream at all? If you do, just throw that up and I'll share that as well. Bye, Jay. Thank you so much. Follow Jay as well. He's an amazing illustrator. He's done a lot of our book covers too. Jay is brilliant. Bye, Jay.
Bye. Yes, I found it.
Okay, let's have a look.
This one is my favourite. Okay, I'll do this one first.
Yep.
Left to right. Yeah, so this one is my favourite, I think, for a number of reasons.
Yep.
I will explain. So this one, Anna's saying, I want long, straight hair. Oh, let's go the other way. Like my friends, like you. And why I love this one, because, you know, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. So it's not enough that other people, that you can just tell your daughter or tell your son or tell them that they're beautiful. You also have to kind of feel that way and represent that way.
Yeah.
So here I am telling her, oh, but your hair's great, you don't need to change it. And there I am with my my long straight hair. So I'm not really, you know, I'm not setting a good example. And I think this really captures it, because I guess for us Black women, especially when we were growing up, we were always told or felt or made to feel that we had to straighten our hair to go to the office. You know, it had to be bone straight. That's the only look that was professional. And this was not considered professional. So for me, for a long time, I was always blow drying my hair straight to go to work. Okay, I made the excuses sometimes. It's quick, it's easy. I wake up and I wash and go. But actually, what I'm trying to say is I'm conforming. Sometimes, yes, it's great to have the versatility of our hair. And that's another thing that's wonderful and should be celebrated about our hair. But really, in a day-to-day, you should just accept and love your hair the way it is. But I think part of accepting our hair now is that we just have so many wonderful natural products to choose from, you know, and things are accessible to us. You can actually find them easily. Before, there were only a handful of products that you could probably find, which weren't very natural, full of chemicals, not really that great for hair. But now when I look what's on the market and what we use now, which is just amazing, my friend's products. I don't know if I can give her a shout out.
Go on, give her a shout out. Go on.
Almacado products.
Almacado.
Yes. Created by my friend Annette. Wonderful. Like, you know, gets these curls back looking wonderful even after blow drying. So I think now that we have so access to all these things, you know, we can look after our hair. And the natural movement will only continue.
I can relate to so much of what you're saying. I remember being young and like I said, I had a massive afro. I remember lying on the floor with my sisters, and so the hair would be shrinkage, and I'd pull it like that. Look, my hair's really long, my hair's straight. And like I said, my mum would not allow me to put any sort of chemical in my hair. The compromise of Jerry curl, which I did not like at all. But it's always this thing that you aspire to, and I think that part of that is that Eurocentric way of looking is celebrated, and that the damage comes because of the absence of your image. So when you're absent in your mind, you subconsciously think that you're not important, there's no value, that you're invisible. Yeah. And I understand what you're saying, you know, this sense of like feeling professional, your hair straight when you're going to work. But what I really loved was, you know, giving it a different dimension, because we can go the other way, you know, oh my gosh, you've got a weave on, or your hair's straight, you're trying to be this. It's like, well, actually, I'm just enjoying the versatility of my afro hair, you know, and I think that's a beautiful thing to be celebrated. We can have, you know, a range of so many different styles according to how we feel. I think, again, that's a great example to show your daughter that versatility. One day I can have my straight hair, another day I can rock the curls, and, you know, both are beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what's in the pipeline for you? I feel like there's more books in you.
Yes, well, I've got 4 other books sitting, waiting.
Lovely.
Shireen and I are starting, hopefully, with the next book in the new year. That one is going to be dedicated to my son. Because I was actually going to do a joint book, but he was like, no, the next one has to be about me. I have to be a character. Adalia got a whole book about her. I need a whole book too. So, okay, the next one's going to be all about Gabriel, is my son, yeah.
Oh, lovely. I wanna ask, tell me more, but I think, yes, let's I think we need to, yes. I'm not going to ask because I'm going to keep asking questions about the new book.
I'd like to share briefly.
Go on.
It's slightly different. I think the next book is really an ode to neurodiverse children. You know, there are lots of children in schools who are neurodiverse in some way, and the way they express themselves and the way they interact with people, themselves and others can be different. And if you have sort of patient teachers and teachers who actually recognize specific things, then they can help them. So it's really just looking at that. For that reason, we kind of shifted our son from his first preschool to another one, which is a Montessori school. And the transition, like the difference that I saw in his character from being at the old school to his new school was just like, wow. You know, we had a bit of a dark period when he was around, I think, 3 years old, where I just thought, oh my God, what is happening? Like, it can't just be the terrible twos. Like, you know, when you've been told or conditioned to think that something's wrong. Yeah. But because you're not there, you don't see it. And, you know, my son used to hate going there, I think. He used to cry all the time. I think, oh, maybe he just misses his mummy. But actually, that was his way of expressing that I don't want to be here. I don't trust these people. I don't like them. And, so the book is really about that feeling of pain and hurt, especially from a mother, feeling that you've let your kid down by keeping them in a school, even though you know to some extent that actually it's not good for them and they don't like it. But because you're working full time, you have no choice in a way, and you just don't have the bandwidth to really think. But then, you know, I removed him from school and we found something else, and then it's like this different little butterfly emerges. But then it kind of links to, again, statistics. When you look at how teachers treat young black boys within the school system, it's always a heavy hand. There doesn't seem to be like an intermediary step. And I just thought, to see the way that a 3-year-old is being talked about and treated, it just broke my heart. And I just felt like that story has to be shared for other parents who feel like they don't have a choice, or that they just have to take what some teachers say at face value. This is not all teachers, but I'm just saying some teachers are just not fully able to kind of deal with children that are a little bit different, and different, not only neurodiverse different, but also different in terms of their background, you know, what languages they speak, etc. So that was our journey, our transition. So the next story is a little bit about that.
I remember reading that, actually. That was really touching. And I think that will raise a lot of awareness, but also can be, you know, really relatable to a lot of parents, definitely out there. Definitely. That's definitely something that's touches my heart too. So I think that's a really, really beautiful book and a beautiful idea. And I just want them to keep coming. I think you've got some great ideas.
And actually, I was supposed to do that book first.
Yes.
And I switched it. And actually, the reason I switched it is more, I didn't feel confident as a writer to put out such a raw, not necessarily raw, but real, something that really touches me like that. Like, even just thinking about it sometimes, I haven't fully processed it. So I still get quite emotional just thinking about those situations. I don't think I was ready to share that story yet with the world. This one to me seemed a little bit more upbeat. It seemed something that could be a little bit more relatable, whereas this one, I felt like I'm not ready to talk about why I wrote this book. Yeah. But now I feel like I'm ready to talk about this book.
Yay! And I can't believe that the new year is literally 6 weeks away, isn't it? I think.
No way.
Already. I know. Hasn't this year gone so quickly? So it's amazing. Yeah. So I think you're in the flow now. You're on a roll. So that's fantastic.
Yeah. Keep going.
So Little Big Stories. Tell us what's the idea behind Little Big Stories? Is that your brand? Why the name?
Yes, well, I wanted to differentiate the books from my business coaching and my career coaching. So this was just the brand that will carry the books, because I've always seen the books as a collection of books. I think we talked about this before. For me, it's like infinite. So I really just want this brand to encapsulate, the stories that I want to share with the world, and the things that I want to produce. But ultimately, my big vision, my big dream would be to see it on screen. When I actually was writing them, I could feel that I was writing it in the form of a screenplay sometimes. So a lot of times I actually have to go back and remove quite a bit to fit it for a storybook. But a lot of the times when I'm actually writing, I visualize characters on screen. So I think my ultimate big dream would be to have this on screen. And what we're seeing over the last couple of years is that, you put in lots of these cartoons and stories like that. Now we have Karma's World. They transitioned Add a Twist Scientist from the book into the series. It's coming. So I feel like now is a good time for me, who's not a creative, like started off as a creative, but can push that idea out there in the world.
Brilliant. Thank you. Rachel's just joined us as well. Hello, Rachel. So I think that's another really important thing when you're publishing a book. When some people just publish a book and they just want to have one book or two books, or they just want a book that is going to remain a legacy in their lives. But when you're actually creating a whole brand around a book, you're taking it to a different dimension, thinking about, possibility of merchandise, possibility of film, looking at different formats, how else you can repurpose it to something bigger, online courses, just throwing all this stuff at you. Hey, you go, workshops,
Exactly.
there's so much you can do with it. So to have that vision is great, and keep dreaming big. I think it's brilliant. So
I try to think, okay, what would I tell my mentees as a mentor, like a business mentor? Think big. Start big, like impossibly big, and then work kind of reverse engineer backwards.
Yeah.
And just take those steps to get there. And you might hit some, you might miss some, but at least then you're thinking really outside of the box. You're thinking really, really creative. You're thinking broadly, because it might not even be that the book is going to be the one that's going to really blow up. It could be something else that you haven't even really put your energy into yet, but that's okay. That idea is still there, and you planted that seed, and when you have the bandwidth, when you have the time, when you can find the support, then yes, you can realize it. So I was just thinking, okay, put myself in my mentee's shoes.
There you go. For those who don't know, Sharnette is also a business mentor. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about that, just in case there's anyone here thinking about starting up a business? Faye?
I also do business and career coaching. I used to work in financial services advisory, working on like restructurings and turnarounds, like administrations, those kind of things. So when I left work full time, I just really thought, okay, I want to leave that kind of macho, male-dominated world behind and step into something that will allow me to do something a bit more, something bigger than just either working for big companies and trying to realize profit for them. But my dream was really to help other women like me who are making that transition either away from their 9 to 5 or trying to find something to supplement their 9 to 5. I think, when we look at the fact that, salaries are not rising or keeping pace with inflation, for example, people just cannot sustain this bread, but their weekly shop. So most people that I speak to or know has a side hustle. They have to have a side business just to kind of maintain that level that they've enjoyed over the years. So for me, it's helping these women, particularly women, because I love women, and I am one, and I think I can relate to their struggles coming from the 9 to 5 into trying to build something for themselves. So that's really my business. I help people build the business from the ground up, but I also help people to kind of restructure and turn things around when they're a bit stuck and kind of don't know where to go next. I suppose I'm trying to use, I've spent however many years in financial advisory. I didn't want it to go all to waste. So let me use my accountancy degree and my restructuring qualifications to do something like some good for people who really need it. Those small businesses or those like sole proprietors who can't afford like a big company to come in and support them. So they make use of like consultants or people like me to really help them kind of take a grasp and make things happen for themselves. So that's what I do as well.
So if that is you, you know where Sharnette is. Well, what's your website for your business? I'll put that in there quickly.
It's super easy. www.sharnette SharnetteDonacien.com.
Could not be easier. So if you're on Facebook, I'm literally putting that in for you right now, and LinkedIn and YouTube. And if you are on Instagram, it's
at Sharnette Donacien. Yeah, very simple.
You're already in here, aren't you? Yeah. Oh, and if you need the spelling, it's on both of our pages. Okay, so where can people find you? Social media, your books?
Yes. The book, you can find me on @_Little Big Stories on Instagram. My website is www.littlebigstories.eu. .com was taken. I was really angry.
So wrong.
And I think I will start to appear on Facebook. Facebook is like a minefield for me right now. I can't get my head around it. So I am on Instagram mainly, but you can find me on Facebook actually at Little Big Stories again. So thankfully I've managed to capture all the social media platform names, which is great.
Fabulous. Oh, I've put them in the comments as well. And get yourself a copy of Ada's Wash Day. Yay! Which is available at all good retailers. So whether that's Amazon, whether that's all Amazon, amazon.com.co.uk.eu, Foyles, Barnes & Noble, Waterstones. Put it into Google and there you go. It will come up for you. So there's lots of different places you can get the book from as well.
A lot of my worldwide people have found Book Depository the best.
Yes.
Yes, for the book worldwide.
Perfect. Book Depository. Check it out. And to finish off, any parting final thoughts to, let's say, what would you say to somebody who wants to write a book or who wants to set up a business or ignite their dream or they've been sitting on for years? What advice would you give them? What would you say to them?
I would say, for one, believe in yourself. I think that's the step one. If you don't believe in yourself, other people honestly can't. So really know that you're capable and that you are enough. And most of the time, you actually have almost everything you need to actually get started. So I know I've said dream big, think impossibly large, think about your end vision. But I've also said reverse engineer, then go back to the beginning. You know, most businesses actually started small. You know, look where Facebook started, look where Google started. Okay, they had backing and money or whatever, but let's think about other businesses then recently. Most people start small. So start with what you have, start with what you know, and then just take small incremental steps to get where you want to go to. I think, like I said, I wrote these books in 2017 and it's 2021. So it's been a 4-year journey for me to get to this point where I've actually got this book in my hands. Yes, it's been a little bit frustrating. It's been full of ups and downs when I think, oh, I don't know if I want to do this. I don't know if I want to. I can't do this alone. But know that you don't have to do it alone as well. You know, I was like, oh, I really want to do this book. I mean, I could do it by myself, but why would you want to? Not in that way. But I really wanted someone that I could bounce off ideas from. And this is where Danni came in. But also someone to kind of oversee all the behind the scenes stuff. Yeah, it's great writing this book and then having it illustrated, but there's so much more that goes behind it that you wouldn't even know. You could spend a lot of time getting to know it. And if you have that time available, learn it and do it well. But if you don't have that time available, then you just outsource it. You pay someone who's actually experienced enough to get that stuff done for you and get it done right and get it done well first time. So that's my experience. Think big, believe in yourself, work hard, take small steps, find support. Don't do it alone. Even if most people, you might think a lot of people are doing it alone, they're not. Find someone to support you and help you in this journey. And enjoy it. Try to.
Wow. I think we should just end there. She dropped the mic. Boom. I'm out. That was brilliant. Thank you so much, Sharnette. It's been an absolute pleasure. This was meant to be 45 minutes or up to 45 minutes, but I've enjoyed speaking to you so much. I think you're really inspirational in terms of, you know, why you've written the book, what this book offers, and also what you do as well as a business mentor consultant. So thank you so much, everybody. Please do get yourself a copy for, doesn't have to be your own child, a child you know, and someone in your family. It's Christmas coming up, so there you go.
And to your local library, you can make a donation to a local library or to your local school. A lot of my friends have bought copies for their kids, but also for their school as well, for their school library.
Great idea. I love that. I'm gonna add that now. Thank you so much for joining. I'll see you next week, where I'll be interviewing the awesome and amazing Rick Tucker, who's written a novel, Under the Flamboyant Tree, set in Trinidad. So you'll have to tune in on Wednesday, 7 p.m. GMT, 2 p.m. EST. I have been Daniela Blechner, speaking to the lovely
Sharnette Donacien.
Bye-bye. See you next week.
All right. Bye-bye.
Hi, Sharnette. You disappeared. I was saying bye to everybody. Oh, I'm still live. Hold on.